My child, I have been watching you brace for a grip that is not coming. Not a hard hand, not a shove, not the heavy pressure of someone forcing you down a road you never chose. Something softer has been resting near you. A steadying, an open palm against the small of your back, where the spine begins its curve. The kind of touch a parent uses to walk a small one through a crowded room without a single word. The kind of contact that does not announce itself because it does not need to. The kind of warmth you tend to notice only when it lifts. And it has not lifted. As I speak, that steadiness is still there. Receive that first. There is a hand resting where you carry the most weight, and it is mine. My word settled this long before you doubted it. It will hold longer than you can picture. I know how you have been moving through this stretch of your life. Hurried in the quiet hours. Slower than you wanted in the hours that counted. You kept glancing over your shoulder for proof. You kept staring at your feet to be sure you would not fall. You kept squinting at a horizon that seemed to keep sliding back. And in all that looking, you missed the smallest, steadiest signal of all. A palm. Light. Continuous. So let your shoulders drop right where you are. Not to perform anything. Just to feel that something in you is still being held steady. A heartbeat. A breath. A faithful rhythm you never had to arrange. Now picture that same kind of nearness behind you. Not pressing, not pulling, only present. Only keeping you from drifting into a wall you were too tired to see. That is how I have been guiding you. Not with thunder. With a palm. You wanted thunder. I understand the wanting. You wanted a sign no one could mistake for anything else. You wanted my voice to come through so loudly that no one in your life could question it, including the part of you that still does. You asked me for that. I was never offended by the asking, but hear the truth about the way I touch. The thunder you wanted would have shaken you. The nearness you already have has been holding you up. There is a difference between a sign that impresses the room and a steadiness that keeps you on your feet. I chose the steadiness, not to withhold the sign, to protect the one walking. Take that in twice if you need to. Some of you will need to hear it 10 times before it settles, and that is fine. I am not rushing you. I have been near your back through seasons you were sure you crossed alone. I am only asking you to begin to notice. Let me name what that nearness has been doing while you missed it. When you stood at the edge of a decision and a calm arrived from no source you could trace, that was me. When you were about to turn one way and your body, without explanation, turned the other, that was me. When you walked into a room and felt yourself drawn toward one person and away from another, with no reason you could give, that was me. When you were spent and somehow took one more step, and the step landed somewhere good, that was me. When the harsh sentence was already forming and a quiet pause held it back until it softened in your mouth, that was me. You called these things instinct. You called them luck. You called them the random shape your day happened to take. Let me give you their real name, guidance. The plainest, steadiest guidance I know how to offer. And I have been offering it to you on the ordinary days. Over and over. I see you. The one who sat at the kitchen table last week with a page split down the middle, pros on one side and cons on the other, and could not make the list decide for you. There was a steadiness at your back even then, while you chewed the end of the pen and felt utterly alone with the choice. The one who has been waking before the alarm with a knot already tied in the chest, I am near. There is a parent here whose grown child has stopped answering and who rehearses the apology that was never owed. There is a worker who took the extra shift and still came home feeling like a failure. The friend who used to ask how the waiting was going has gone quiet, and the silence stung more than the question ever did. Your prayer has gotten shorter. Some days it is only a name said into the dark. None of this is hidden from me, not one frame of it. And here is what you have not let yourself believe. Every one of those rooms had a hand resting at your spine. The kitchen table, the early dark, the long drive home from the shift that drained you. You felt alone because the touch was quiet, and you had been taught that quiet meant absence. It never did. I am not the angry God you were handed by people who were hurting. The version of me you inherited was painted by tired hands that read judgment into every silence. I am not crouched, waiting for you to fail so I can correct you. I am the steady nearness that has been keeping you from the wall in the first place. The correction you keep flinching from is not on its way, because correction is not what I am holding out. What I am holding out is steering. A small, continuous, almost invisible adjustment. The kind a coach gives a runner. The kind that says, not yet this way, lean here, soften, breathe. Some of you have braced your whole life for a heavy grip. So when a light touch came, you could not read it. You thought it was nothing. You thought you were on your own. You thought the lack of pressure meant the lack of presence. Let me correct the reading. The lightness was the proof. Only a very close hand can rest that lightly. A stranger has to push. A parent only has to let the fingers rest. The picture of me you carry was drawn for you before you could question it. Someone you trusted handed you a God who was mostly disappointed. A God who kept a ledger. A God whose attention you only earned on the days you behaved, and whose face turned away on the days you did not. You learned to read every hard stretch as a punishment, and every silence as a verdict. So you have spent years trying to manage a relationship with a God who never existed. Measuring, performing, apologizing for being tired. Set that picture down. It was never me. My word does not describe a God who waits with crossed arms. It describes a shepherd who leaves the flock to find the one. A father who runs down the road while the son is still far off. Who does not wait for the rehearsed speech. Who is already calling for the robe. That is the disposition behind the hand on your back. Not reluctance. Not a grudge you have to outlast. Nearness, freely given, that ran toward you before you turned around. Hear this plainly, because the lie has been loud. The steadiness at your spine is not conditional on your performance. It did not arrive because you earned a good week, and it does not lift because you stumbled into a bad one. Grace, by its own definition, is not wages. Wages are counted and owed and withheld. A gift is simply placed in the open hand. I placed my nearness on your back as a gift, and a gift cannot be ungiven by the one who keeps doubting it deserves to hold it. Here is something small to do with your body right now. Breathe in slowly through your nose, and let it leave even slower through your mouth. One breath. That long, unhurried exhale is the body remembering it does not have to hold itself up alone. If this is reaching the place in you that has been afraid to lean, leave the word near in the comments. A quiet yes to yourself that you are willing to notice what has been noticing you. And while you are there, you will find 7 letters waiting in the pinned comment above. 1 for each of the next 7 mornings. Take them. Now to the part you came for. Why this steadiness is here for this exact stretch of your road. You have been walking toward a doorway you cannot see yet. The path that leads there does not run straight. There are places where the floor changes height. and you would stumble without the cue. There are corners where the room narrows and you would scrape your shoulder if a gentle pressure did not angle you wide. There are stretches where you slow without knowing why, and a steadiness keeps your pace from collapsing. I have been walking you toward that door. Not dragging. Walking. There is a difference, and the people who confused you about me rarely made it clear. Dragging is what fear does. Dragging is what shame does. Dragging is what every voice did that wanted to make you smaller and move you where you did not want to go. They put a grip on you that was not asking, a pressure that was deciding. I am not that. I have never been that. The hand at your spine is always asking, every step. It invites you to lean into the direction it offers, and it waits for you to lean. If you stop, it stops with you. If you sit down, it rests on your back while you sit. The voices that told you I was tired of waiting for you were never mine. They were echoes from rooms I was not even in. The reason you have not felt fully alone, even in the seasons that looked the emptiest, is that you were not. The reason you kept moving when you stopped believing you were going anywhere is that something kept moving you. You did not generate that staying power. You received it. I gave it to you in the plainest, most repeatable way I know. A palm, resting, not lifting. You were never walking alone. Let that sentence settle into the part of you that has been making decisions on autopilot and calling it being responsible. Into the part of you that has been muscling through the week and calling it being strong. Into the part of you that has carried the weight of choosing the right direction by yourself and called it being mature. I am not removing the responsibility. I am only telling you the truth about how it has been carried. You were never the only one steadying your own back. Maybe you have been doing too much because you forgot a steadiness was already there. You thought every step had to be authored, every choice drafted 3 times. You were straining to push yourself forward when forward was already happening through a much smaller, much steadier touch than the one you were applying. So ease off for 1 minute. Just one. Notice that you do not have to manufacture momentum. Slow down enough to receive it. Others have been doing too little because you stopped trusting that direction was even available to you. You sat down inside a season because every option felt like a coin flip. The coin was never the only signal. There was a steadiness. There still is. The lightness of the touch was not the absence of guidance. It was the shape of it. I do not flood you with instructions because I am not trying to override you. I'm trying to walk with you. There is a difference between a remote control and a partner, and I have always chosen partner. Between those two, the one straining and the one frozen, most of you move back and forth, sometimes in the same day. You push too hard in the morning and collapse by the afternoon, and you have called both of them failures of will. They are not failures of will. They are what happens to a back that has forgotten it is being held. The straining is the back trying to be its own support. The freezing is the back giving up on support entirely. Both ease the moment you remember the same thing. The weight of staying upright was never assigned to you alone. Let that one truth interrupt the swing. Not more effort on the hard days, not more shame on the empty ones. Just the steady awareness that a hand is already doing the part you keep trying to do twice. Now look at the small things you handed to other sources. The instinct that kept you out of one conversation. The morning you almost canceled an appointment and went anyway, and it turned out to be the one that mattered. The message you almost sent and somehow did not. And a week later, you understood why. The job you missed by a week and the one that fit you better. None of that was the universe rearranging itself. None of it was your luck holding. That was a steadiness applying the smallest pressure in the only direction that was safe for you to walk. I am telling you these things so you will start collecting the evidence again. Not the kind that requires a thunderclap. The kind that lives in the very ordinary record of how your days unfolded. Look back at last week. Find the moment that should have gone worse and somehow did not. Find the moment you slowed down for no reason and were glad later that you did. Find the choice your body seemed to make a half second before your mind caught up. Each of those is a fingerprint of the same hand, in the same place, doing the same quiet work it has done since the day you first learned to walk. And notice what your body has been telling you all along. The shoulders that dropped in the middle of a hard conversation, though nothing in the conversation had eased. The breath that lengthened on the worst day, when nothing on the calendar warranted a deeper breath. The strange, unearned calm that arrived right when panic should have taken over. You called it nothing. It was not nothing. The body responds to a nearness it cannot name long before the mind agrees to believe in it. You have been having a quiet, physical experience of my presence your whole life. The only mistake you made was refusing to call it anything at all. So begin to call it something. I am not asking for theological precision. I am not asking you to defend the experience to someone who has already decided not to believe you. I am asking for honesty between the two of us about what you have actually felt. Name the small steadiness. Name the unexpected lightness. Each naming is a yes. Each yes makes the next touch a little easier to feel. The hand has not been getting heavier. Your permission to feel it has been getting wider. Some of you grew up being told the spiritual life was one long performance review. Quiet times measured. Prayers counted. Failures weighed. In that story, the touch was either earned by the performance or withheld by the failure. That was never the economy I run. The hand was placed before the performance ever started, and it stays through every chapter, including the chapters where the performance fell apart. There is no version of you that lost it. There is no version of you that the touch was a reward for. It is a fact about who you are to me, not a fact about how you are doing. So let the arithmetic go. The counting has been making your back tense and your prayers short and your breathing shallow. Live for one season without the calculator. Walk without the audit. Receive the steadiness the way a small child receives a parent's grip at a crossing they cannot make alone. Not earning it, not measuring whether they have been good enough for it, simply allowing it to do its work, and walking. Be the child for a while. You will not miss the math. There is a doorway ahead of you that you cannot see yet, and the steadiness has plans for it. I am not promising you the doorway opens this week, and I am not naming what waits on the other side. I am telling you the path that leads there is held. The reason you have kept moving toward a future you could not picture is that you were being walked toward it, one small adjustment at a time. You did not have to see the door to be on your way to it. You only had to keep leaning into the hand that already knew where it stood. Now I want to read you a line that was set down a very long time ago for people who were sure they were alone. It was written by a man who had run from God and been found, who had hidden and been seen, who put his pen to the one truth he could not outrun. He had counted his own days as small. He had felt searched and exposed and, for a long stretch, undeserving of being followed so closely. And then it turned, the way grace turns a thing inside out, and the very closeness that had frightened him became the only comfort he trusted. He did not write it for scholars. He wrote it for the tired one, for you. This is what my word says. Psalm 139:5. You hem me in, behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Read it slowly. Take it apart clause by clause. Behind and before. Notice the order, not only in front of you where the plans wait and the future you keep rehearsing lives. Behind you, where the steadying happens, where you cannot watch your own back, where you have felt most exposed. He hems you in. That is not a cage. That is a parent walking a child through a crossing with a hand on each side so the traffic cannot reach them. And then the last clause, the quiet one. You lay your hand upon me, present tense. Not a memory of a hand, not a hand promised for some better day, a hand that rests now, written into the deepest place where you were knit together. This promise is not new, and it is not yours alone to keep secret. It has steadied frightened people for thousands of years, and it is steady enough to hold you too. Look back at the question underneath everything I have said. Why has this steadiness been on your back through this exact stretch? Here is the answer. Because being hemmed in, behind and before, is not a season I switch on and off. It is the shape of how I have decided to walk with you. What you receive with certainty here is not a date, not a delivery, not a circumstance bending to your timeline. What you receive is this: my presence, behind and before. You are not alone on the road, and you never were. Hear what that promise is and what it is not. It is not a guarantee that the road will smooth out by the weekend. It is not my word that the bill will be covered by Friday or the diagnosis reversed on your schedule. I have watched too many tired people be sold that kind of certainty by voices that did not know me, and I have watched their faith crack when the calendar did not obey. So I will not hand you a counterfeit. What I hand you is steadier than an outcome. It is a presence that does not depend on the outcome at all. Peace that holds when the circumstance does not. A pardon already spoken over your worst day. A belonging you did not have to qualify for. Rest for a back that has been bracing since childhood. Those are the things my hand is actually delivering, and they do not arrive and then expire. They are kept. That is the inheritance underneath the touch. Not a windfall you are waiting to verify, but a nearness that has already been verified across every season you tried to cross alone. The steadiness is not the promise of a better circumstance. The steadiness is the better thing itself. So here is something small you can carry into the rest of your week. When you feel yourself bracing, shoulders up, chest narrow, the old fear rising, let your jaw come loose if it has been clenched, and say one quiet line back to me, even under your breath. Your hand is on my back. I am not walking alone. You may not feel different the first time. You may not feel different the 10th. But somewhere around the 30th time, you will notice your shoulders have already dropped before you finish the sentence. That is not a trick of the mind. That is the body finally being told the truth. You do not have to do this perfectly. You do not have to do it on a schedule, or in a certain posture, or with the right words. If all you manage on a hard morning is the single word, near, that is enough. The point is not to perform a ritual well. The point is to keep handing the same tired thought back to the truth until the truth wears a groove deeper than the fear. Old grooves were carved over years. The new one takes a little patience. Be patient with the one learning to lean. That one is you. And one more thing for the one moving so fast that even a steady hand is hard to feel at that pace. I have kept up with you through every speed of every season. But there is a velocity at which subtle pressure simply stops registering. Not because the nearness left, but because the body, at a sprint, goes numb to anything quiet. So slow down, even by a little, even by the smallest margin you can manage today, just enough that the sensitivity comes back. The hand has not been louder in your slow seasons and quieter in your fast ones. It has been the same warmth the whole time. The volume lives in your nervous system, not in mine. Now go forward differently. Not louder, not faster, not with more strain than the day requires. Just with the small, steady awareness that you are not the only force moving you. There is a steadiness at your spine, and it knows the floor and the corners and the rhythm at which your particular life is meant to unfold. You do not have to manage the unfolding by yourself. You only have to keep walking and let the nearness do the quiet work it has always done. For the one still waiting on a louder sign, hear this. The nearness is the louder sign. A booming voice can be sent from across a distance. A steady warmth at your back means the room was never empty. A voice that shouts proves only that I noticed you from far off. A hand that rests proves I never left the room. That is the more extravagant gift, even though it is the quieter one, because it costs me the whole walk beside you instead of a single word thrown from somewhere else. I want that to live deep in you for the rest of your life. And for the one afraid the steadiness will lift the moment you make a real mistake, hear this too. It has already stayed through every mistake you have made. The mistakes did not change the touch. The touch is what changed how you survived them. If a failure could remove my presence, it would have removed it long ago. Your failures were never strong enough. My nearness is what is strong and what is mine, and what I have given you for the whole length of your road. There is a tenderer thing I want to give you, because some of you have started to feel something rise in the chest while these words moved, and you cannot quite say what it is. It is the body finally being told. The back has been waiting a long time to hear that it was not abandoned in the hard rooms. The body keeps the loneliness. It keeps the seasons you walked through with no one beside you. And it has been waiting for someone to come back and explain what was actually happening in those rooms. So, let me explain. You were not left there. You were carried through by a hand you did not yet know how to feel. If something soft is breaking open in you now, let it. That is not weakness. That is recognition. That is the back, at last, setting down what it had been holding while it waited to be told the truth. And to the one so used to being moved by force, that gentleness itself feels like a trick. I know your body learned to flinch before a touch even arrived. I know there were people in your story who used closeness to control you, and you have not been able to separate the two since. I am not them. I will never become them. The hand on your back will not tighten into a grip. It will not grab. It will not punish. If you ever feel the pressure turning into something it is not, what you are feeling is not me. It is an old memory rising up to read a new touch through old fear. Tell that memory the truth. The grip it braces for has already left your life. The hand resting here now is mine, quieter, safer. Asking, never seizing. Before these words are finished, let the truest thing become the steadiest place you stand, not a thunder you are still waiting for. The quiet hand that has been there the entire walk. You were never walking alone. Amen. If this devotional reached the place in you that has been afraid to stop bracing, leave the word near below. I read them. There are 7 free letters waiting in the pinned comment, 1 for each of the next 7 mornings, so take them. Pass this on to someone whose back has been carrying more than you knew, and stay close so the next word can find you. You were never meant to walk this alone.